Welcome back. Minister of Communication and Information Technology, Dr. طارق this week launched a new Technology Innovation and Entrepreneurship Center at the Smart Village, known as the TIEC. Described as a technological leap forward for Egypt, analysts said this center is likely to position Egypt on the world's technological innovation and creativity map over the coming period.
Joining us now in the studio is Dr. طارق السعدني. He is Deputy Minister of ICT and CEO of the new centre. Good to have you with us, sir.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good morning. Dr. السعدني, the centre was the brainchild of Prime Minister Dr. Ahmed Nazif, who was himself Minister of Communications and IT before he became Egypt's Premier. He, in fact, has ambitious plans for Egypt's IT sector. He hopes to make the country an IT hub in the Middle East and in Africa. Now, you are the centre's CEO, and we know that the Smart Village is a living example of what can be achieved in that direction. So tell us more.
Perfect, thanks. First of all, thanks for having me this morning. It's great, it's very good to start, teaching people and, explaining to people about, this new center and about its mandate and objectives. So first of all, this center, was launched, as you said, by His Excellency Dr. Nazif in January, and we announced it last week, the start of the operations. We didn't do yet the official inauguration, but will happen later this year. The objective of the center, as you kindly said, is to put Egypt as the regional hub for technology innovations and entrepreneurship in the region, in Middle East and Africa, and to be one of the global centers around the globe. The most important thing is this center will act as a catalyst where it's going to help promote the idea of entrepreneurship and innovation. We're not doing here in this center research-based activity, but we are trying to innovate our products, our processes, our systems to, to help us achieve a better economic return and help, the job market on the high end and the niche sector.
Dr. Sadani, let's give our viewers an idea about internet penetration in Egypt nowadays.
So for the internet penetration, of course, we all know, it's increasing over the years. Like, a few years ago, the numbers was very small. Today we are talking about 12–13% penetration, and it's going forward.
12% of the population.
Yes, of course. If you think about it, this is a large number of people.
Relatively high for a country with a high illiteracy
exactly,
rate.
and a high population. You can go to smaller countries with a very limited population and things like that. The numbers will be different. But if you calculate the numbers here you're going to find them. The most important thing is now, in addition to this, we need to provide, the content, the Arabic content for the people here to use the internet, because at the end of the day, people will go to the internet for content. So now, one of the ambitions and one of the objectives of the center in the areas we work on is to in the innovations is how to promote, how to add more to the existing content of the Arabic on the internet.
Now, looking at the list of the centre's board members, very impressive indeed. You are the CEO, then there's the chair of the Academy of Scientific Research, Dr. Megid Shirbini, there's Dr. Huda Baraka, a very well-known IT expert, and several other distinguished people in the industry. The centre has a double mission, as you said, sir. The first is to promote technological innovation and creativity. Where do we start? Okay.
First of all, the center is chaired by, the chairman of the center is His Excellency Dr. طارق, the Minister of Communications and IT, which is important because, this is a government body. I'm the CEO, and of course, we have a very nice and a very influential group of board of trustees between people from the government, people from academia, and people from industry, and people from multinationals. So we try to have multinationals that are, in the technology sector, and like companies like Google, AMC, Intel, Microsoft, and things like that. We try to have local companies and local entrepreneurs and people who are young and energetic, that and are leaders in this sector. And we also have people from the academia, as you said, Dr. Megid Shirbini and others.
But to promote creativity, shouldn't this start at school? early on in life.
That's why, that's why. So one of the things, of course, we are trying, we're taking it steps. So we want to at the first stage is to approach the higher education. That's closer, you know what I mean? But definitely we will gonna go, down the scale, down the stack until we reach the basic education. Definitely, as you said, we have two missions. We have creativity and innovations. And when we say innovation here, we want to differentiate between innovation and research. Because scientific research happens in the universities and academia. For us, this is innovation in something you do. So we want people to innovate in the work they do so that it can have an ROI or return on investment or an economic returns. The second part of it, of the center, is entrepreneurship, promoting entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship means what? We need leaders to create business. We need leaders to create small and medium enterprises.
Young leaders.
Yes.
Fresh graduates.
We will focus on that. Of course, why? Because that's the, what I mean. One of the things I always say to people, when I go to places, this is why I really wanted to do the center with Dr. Nazif and Dr. $طارق and things, is whenever you sit in a gathering, okay, you're gonna find people, young, very energetic people, sitting waiting, to find a job. This is, we want the thing to reverse. We want these people to have ideas. We want them to build businesses, and we want these businesses to help the GDP of the country. And this is so important.
Dr. $طارق Saladin, how do you plan to reach out to those young people who are skilled, who are talented, and want the opportunity to promote this?
Definitely. One of the main areas of the ecosystem of this center is people and the human capacity. So definitely, one of a very important portion of what we're going to do is to train the talent and the human capacity of the people, so that we can, prepare them to be entrepreneurs, to have the courage, to be able to take risks, to jump into the business market and things like that. So definitely we're going to reach out to those. We're going to have, and not only reach out to those, and because some of those which we see can develop business plans and things like that to change them into companies and startups. We're definitely going to encourage that. I'm going to work with that because we, so our incubation programs and other programs we have.
Development of human resource. The project will help create new job opportunities for qualified graduates. How many? Do we have an idea? Here,
we have plans and we have numbers we're putting. I didn't get yet approval, because we're still at the beginning, but we're going to, of course, work with my superiors and to go through the numbers. But at the end of the day is we have to understand something. The people who work on the high end of the scale or the niche areas, they bring, like, if we think about a person who works, for example, in the support or call centers, he brings to the country like $30,000 a year. When we think about people who work in these areas, they can bring up to 300K, 300,000, or up to $1 million. Look at companies like startups like Facebook, like YouTube, like this or that. These companies, from nothing, they became one of the big tycoons of the world. Yes, exactly. So we have big aspirations, we have big hopes, because these types of jobs, they are not going to be as many as, for example, we have in the call centers business, but the people who are there will going to create an effect and going to create an era of change in the industry around us.
Dr. $طارق Saladin, the center will not work independently. There is a sort of collaboration between the center, the government, the private sector, and academies. Would you tell us more about this collaboration between those parties?
So as we are working with different areas. So first of all is the government, because we need to facilitate things. We need to facilitate the creation of companies. We need to facilitate, the things to make life easier for people to be in business. We were going to work with academia because we need, as we said, young talent. We need ideas. We need creativity. So the projects, the ideas, things like that, we're going to come from there. We need businesses because we need to teach people how to hook them to the business. We need to show people, not only local, but regional and global.
The private sector.
Yeah, private sector. It's all about private sector. At the end of the day, it has to come from the private sector. I believe that the government role is always as a catalyst. We shouldn't be driving. I don't believe in government. Government only is there to start, help and put people on the track. But the people on the private sector, on the private business, have to run on the tracks.
PPP.
Exactly.
Public-private partnership. Dr. Saadani, we keep hearing that the future is for IT, that this sector will, together with infrastructure projects, attract the bulk of FDIs in the coming phase. Tell us about investments in the IT sector.
Perfect. So we have seen that FDIs are so important, especially in the IT sector, because the technologies, the latest technology, we like it or not, they come from the West. And they come specifically from the US at the top of the pyramid. And so definitely we started early on, like 15 years ago, when we started the ideas of having a ministry and the focus on the IT sector and things like that. We started approaching the big multinationals in the IT sector, like the IBMs, the Oracles, the Ciscos, and of the world, and we attracted them. And we started attracting them to come and invest here. We said, okay, we're going to start with you guys on the low scale. Okay, we can be call centers, we can do technical support centers, we can do the masses, any jobs, outsourcing, we can do that. Now we're in an era, we mastered that, we're in a very good position now. We have an export of around 1.1 billion that we're going to achieve this year in the exports for the outsourcing and IT and things like that. In the next phase, we need to take this level up. So we're going to still work with this company that they trusted us before to take us to the next level. Can we do with you innovation? Can we do with you IP, intellectual property, revenue sharing? Can we take this and move forward?
I think we're witnessing a technology revolution in the making here.
Yeah, I hope so.
Dr. طارق السعدني, we talked earlier about the center's role in promoting human resources among young children, young people rather, with potentials and skills in IT sector. How long does this process take, and where does the funding come from?
So the process, of course, it's long process. Okay, we are about of what? Creating an innovation culture. It's very, very important. It's not an event. It's a process, as you said, and it takes, and as you rightly said at the beginning, it has to be built in the children from the young. So that's why we're gonna, we will have. Part of why I'm here is, one of the reasons is I want people to start knowing about this. We as families, we as parents and things like that, we have to start implanting those in our kids. People have to start, looking at education not to get good grades or, to get a degree. No, you have to start looking at education to learn, to change, to create a person who can understand, who can innovate, who can develop. Funding. You said a very good question. So one of the good reasons we started under the center was under the Ministry of ICT is we didn't want to burden this center, budget on the government. So we are going to have the funds initially from the resources of the Ministry of ICT and its affiliates. So of course we have revenues comes, from revenues that come from the post, revenue comes from the IT sector, from the mobile, from the telecom. So we end from the ITIDA, which is the Information Technology Industry Development Agency. So we'll make use of these revenues and take parts of those to fund the operations of the center. And that's what was agreed upon.
Finally, Dr. السعدني, what would you like to tell young people with an interest in computers watching us now?
What I want to tell them is, very, very important to have an IT background in any area you're in. Because if you're in medical field, you're in agriculture, you're in manufacturing, you're in whatever.
In the media.
In media, every place you have to have everything is based on IT, and everything we have to do things differently. If we don't think outside of the box, and we do things the normal way, we'll have to go through the long line that everyone knows. If you want to jump steps and take steps forward as long, we have to do things in a different way. And we have to be innovative.
Of the box.
Yes, think out of the box, and we have to be innovative in everything we do.
Excellency, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here. Good morning.
Thank you, Dr. طارق السعدني. And now the European Neighbourhood Policy Commission has allocated a financial package of about 449 million Egyptian pounds for Egypt for the period between 2011-2013 to support Egypt's economic reform program and development. And the EU Commissioner met with several Egyptian ministers this week to sign the agreement. Our correspondent Reem Noor was there and filed in this report on the event.